Good evening, ladies. Hopefully you're here. I like it when a plan goes together. There we are. Cool. Excellent. So that's that sorted. That can go there. Looks a bit dark on my screen, but on my computer, but it looks a bit dark on my phone. But I've got my overheads on, so I don't think I can do much about it. Good evening, Sue. Hello, Fondia. Welcome. We're just ahead of 9 o'clock. Got a different project plan for tonight. So hopefully we'll enjoy it. Hi, Pixie Designs. Welcome. You'll have to remind me what your proper name is, my darling, because I don't think I'll really... Well, I could go with Pixie Designs all night, but maybe not what you want. If you're happy to share your proper name, I'll endeavour to try and remember it. I'm generally crap at remembering names, but hey ho. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Patty. Right, that's better. And you can give me a little reminder if I conveniently forget. Thank you, Fondia. I've got a UK accent. I was born and brought up in South London, and have lived for more of my life in the northwest, so close to Manchester, and I'm neither a Manchester United nor a Manchester City supporter. In fact, I'm not a football supporter at all, so that solves that problem, and I can't cause upset from anyone. Right, let me just clear that out of the way. Unpick that little lot up here. So, unlike Terry, who can do her lives, over several nights, that's not going to be practical because the lovely Terry is going to be back tomorrow. Her filming set looks amazing. And I think she's now sort of just about set up and ready to be back to normal. But in the meantime, we've got a project tonight. Good evening, Miss Edie. Welcome. Hello, Brenda. Thank you for joining us. Good evening, Mary. Or good afternoon, because it might not be evening where you are. It's 9 o'clock in the UK, which is, well, it's not far short of my bedtime, really. But hey ho. My brush bucket's on the floor. When I dip down, that's what I'm getting, because I haven't got any other room on my table because, well, that's what it's like. Hi, Della. Welcome, my darling. Welcome. So I'm just going to do a mixed media piece this evening. Assemblage, collage. Well, it is difficult. It's my style. The fabric painting from the other day is what is because I had to use the stuff for Pentart earlier on in the day when I launched it. But tonight I'm going to do something that's more typical my style, and fabric stuff will be back on show on Pentart's Live on Tuesday at 6. And here is a little sneaky peek of what we might be up to. And I'll put that out of the way before I show you too much. But hey ho. So this is just a piece of MDF that I have here. And I've just given it a little spray with some water because the Pentart Prima paste, aka gesso, is quite thick. And I'm wanting to add a white base to my board, just so that I can add some rice paper over the top. And if I don't have a light base to start with, then it will make the rice, the colours of the rice paper will be much more muted. And I've picked ones that are fairly muted in the first place. So so I don't want them to be any softer than they are. I might need to add more than one layer. This MDF is meant to be Medite, and it's meant to not soak up stuff too badly, but it surely is soaking up stuff tonight. So we'll add a layer give it a quick dry, and I think we're going to add another layer. Could use acrylic paint, but gesso is generally cheap and cheerful, so there we are. We'll just add some more onto that. There we are, that's better. We don't need a completely whited out background, but I definitely do want something that's not quite pale brown, because otherwise we're just going to have, as I say, a very grungy background, and it's grungy enough as it is, just because of the nature of the print. Let me just pop that there out of the way, pop that over there. We'll give this a little blast dry, and then I'll make a decision as to whether I do need to add any more. Hello Jan, welcome my darling. Della, you're most welcome. You're most welcome. The whole purpose of Live with Terry is to have a group of crafty friends. She inspires us just about every single night. She's been off air a little bit just because she's been having to move house, and we all know how traumatic that is. I'm already in my gym jams this evening, so I've got a nice coffee Odeon. I craft in my conservatory, and the temperature is dropping. So hence the top this evening. It's keeping me nice and warm. Yeah. Let me just give that over there. There we are. So, okay. Feel free to sprinkle the chaos everywhere else. It's already been shared to a few pages. And guess what? I've even shared it to my own page. So let me just do that whilst that's sitting there drying. I can do that. And there we are. Because otherwise I'll never find the live when I want to link it with a picture of the finished project. So there we are. Let's just pop that over there. Good evening, Teresa. Welcome, my darling. Hello, Linda. Happy Sunday, a happy Sino and Mail. Don't know what that means, my darling. I'm afraid I think you'll have to explain that to me. I know for some of the Orthodox churches, it's Easter. In the UK, we celebrated Easter about a month ago, actually the back end of March. Hello, Liz. How is Kitty Purry this evening? Is all well? I know the rest of them are behaving, as I say. That's gone on very patchy, so let's just add another layer, because I do want a white base. And as I say, this layer I could now be adding a layer of acrylic paint, but the gesso will serve its purpose. Not that I don't have enough acrylic white paint, having been sent 500ml pots of it by Pentart the other day. Yeah. Happy dance when I throw away a 50ml tube bottle because I'm trying to declutter my craft room, and then get 6 500g bottle pots of assorted mediums. I know, first world problem, but there is only so much room a girl can have in a craft room, and my craft room is significantly big. There we are. Well, that looks like I might have a... let's get rid of that splodgy bit. There we are. It's not going to show underneath all of the layers. That can go into that pot. He's playing in the garden, being out all day. Well, that's good. That's good. Right, what am I looking for? I'm looking for my heat gun again. There we are. Hello, Tracy. Welcome, my darling. Thank you for joining us this evening. Hello, Sarah John. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got a good number of people coming on board, which is lovely to see. I think it was the Kentucky Derby the other day out in the States, was it? Maybe. Well, welcome, Terry. It's always good to have new people watching Terry. She does lots of upcycling, furniture remakes and things. Very talented. My style is quite different from that. So I'm based in the northwest in Manchester. Whereabouts are you, my darling? Just give me the sort of vague area of the country. We've got quite a few ladies online who I happen to know live in the northwest of the United Kingdom. Let me just get this just so dry, because if I don't and then add a glue over it, I'll have a white mixed with blue, and then I will have a mess on top of the rice paper. So there we are. I'm using a Stamperia rice paper this evening, partly because it's quite difficult to get hold of decoupage green rice papers in the UK, but also they're in my stash and I'm desperately trying to behave and use things up. It might be quite a battle to do that, but that's what we're aiming to do. So you're from Nottingham, lovely. Lovely, lovely. So that's about a 2-hour journey from where I am, I think, probably. Yeah, about 2 hours. You see, you check whether something's dry, wet, by putting your hand on it, because that's what you do, isn't it? Is it dry? Yeah. And then you pick up paint. Actually, it's not too bad, to be fair. So let's just grab some glue. And I'm using a matte glue. Hello, Anna. Your surname isn't obviously English. I'm not too sure what your nationality is, but welcome. It's nice to see people joining us this evening. So we're just going to do. So I'm not intending doing lives at 9 o'clock in the UK time on a very regular basis. If I'm pressurised to do so, then I might. But because 10 o'clock is definitely normally my bedtime, because I'm a creature of habit. I promise not to fall asleep at 10 o'clock if I haven't quite finished, which, knowing me and this type of project and painting molds, we might not be finished. So let's sort of vaguely centerize that in there. I don't want, it's going to be easier to, there we are, because you can see through rice papers. I can pop that, there we are, vaguely straight, because there are lines on it. Excellent, cool. So that's vaguely where I want it. Let's just lift that up, and then we can push it down, and hopefully by doing that we're not going to get too many wrinkles. There we are. Put it down slowly. I might need to add a bit more glue behind, but there we are. And we'll just keep the lines going in the same direction, either up and down or across, doesn't matter which, but I tend not to scrabble back and forth and in all directions, because I just think that you don't get such a nice result when you do that. So we'll push that down, we'll hold that edge up, and then by doing this we're pushing out the wrinkles and hopefully not getting too many. And if we do, well, it's all going to add to the texture anyway, isn't it? There we are. So we just don't need to be too worried. And I know I'm taking off this bit of the rice paper at the bottom, and that's fine, because I don't particularly want that imagery. It was the background that I wanted. We might use that on something else. We could definitely use the shells on something else. So let's just pop this over there. And I know now I have given this a jolly good coat all over of my decoupage glue and medium. And use the one that you like to use. This one is the matte. It tends to be my go-to, but the silky shine is pretty. There's a glittery one as well. There's one for textiles and there's one for ceramics if you want to waterproof things. Good evening, Helen. So I didn't see you coming in. Yes, this has been a dirty stopper. I've been staying up well past my normal bedtime. Good evening, Lisa. Thank you very much. I have had a lovely day. So I can see that is bubbling, that has bubbled under there. So let me just wipe that off there and add a little bit. There we are. Bit more glue. Push that out. There we are. And hopefully I haven't picked up too much white paint in the process. Well, we'll work if we have, because that's also just part of life. That can go into there. So let's just give this a brush dry, because you can't take off the edges until it's properly dry around the edges. Otherwise, all that will happen is you'll rip the paper. So it wouldn't be a project for me without a bit of crackle. So guess what? We'll be adding some crackle in a minute. We just need to get this properly dry. Hello Sharon, welcome my darling. And I didn't see Raina come in, so welcome my darling. Thank you so much. Lovely to see so many people joining me. And of course, if it gets too late for anyone who I'm just buttering on, I will carry on, but feel, the live will be saved on Terry's page and in Crafting Chaotix, so that you can see it at any time. So I'm watching on my phone. I have you on Terry Lights' page, so I might not necessarily see comments. I certainly won't see them from YouTube. I won't necessarily see them from Crafting Chaotix. So if you're watching and I haven't acknowledged your presence, please don't be offended. It's just that I don't have the 4 screens that Terry has. I've got my computer that I'm streaming from and my phone. I'm not too sure that I really want to have more screens to have to cope with. 2 is quite enough for me to get confused with as it is. So there we are. We just need to get that dry. I can feel that it's still damp. And if I try adding stuff on top of this at the moment, then that won't help. So I think at the moment you can see where these edges are much darker than the brightness in the centre, and that's because I've got that nice white behind it and it's plastered onto it. These I've got an air gap behind, so they're not so clean. I might need to add a little bit more onto there. Let's see where we're up to. Let's just give this a proper dry all around the edges, and then we'll see what it's like for filing. Yeah. You don't really want to spend too long in any one bit, because you can char your stuff if you're not careful, and that's not a good thing to do. Right, excellent. So let's just grab a very luxurious nail file. They're relatively high grit, so they're not going to damage the board underneath, and it's a up and down, a down at 45 angle, off and then back on. It's not a seesaw motion, and because it's not a seesaw, it pulls the edge of the paper down onto the board and helps seal it in place. And I know that may be teaching some of you to suck eggs, but for anyone who's new to rice papers, then it's quite important that you understand what we're doing and why. There we are. So I've got a curved edge there. So curves are always a bit more of a challenge, aren't they? But hey ho, we'll get around there. So rice paper has extra thick fibres in some places, and they may be a bit more difficult to file down, but persistence will win, and it'll come away relatively easily. And so we're going to do this before we go tackling any moulds, any composition. Excuse me for coughing, ladies. I'm going to give it another blast dry. I can feel in my hand in the centre it's still a bit wet, but then I can add some crackle, and that can do its own thing a little bit in between things. For me, this is a pared back make this evening. Hi Terry, welcome my darling, welcome. We've all seen your fabulous filming setup. We're all very, very jealous. Definitely don't think I really can cope with 4 cameras, but I guess anything's possible. 4 screens, I guess anything is possible. But I'm looking forward to you being back on air, on the screens from tomorrow. But it's been a pleasure to do a couple of live streams for you. I'm going to be using lots of Pentart mediums this evening. It wouldn't be a live for me if I wasn't using Pentart mediums or products that are available from Pentacolour, purely because I am on their creative team and therefore that's important. So these papers are actually from Songs of the Sea, which was released last year in the autumn, paradoxically, as a combination of collaborative between Anthony Sakadis and Farrell Taylor. And I guess it was released in the autumn because Farrell is Australian, and so it would have been her summer, and she absolutely loves a steampunk style, though she does pretty quite well too. There we are. Are you now all sorted, Terry? Is the house vaguely sort of looking like it might be fit for habitation? And has the McDonald's forgiven you for the humongous order for chicken nuggets and Big Mac bigger meal deals? So the centre of this is still a bit tacky. The edge is perfectly dry. I've managed to file it without a problem, but the centre is definitely still a bit tacky. So let me just give this a little while. You're hanging in there a bit tired. I'm not surprised, my darling. It's hard work. Has Onyx now settled down? It is Onyx, isn't it? He's now settled and got used to the fact that it's now his new home. And as a second question, how is Troy coping with all of the upheaval? I suspect it might have been quite difficult for him, but with family around him and lots of support, I'm sure he'll get used to the idea that he's got a new room and everything else. So I think I've seen a new lady come in. Good evening, Penny. I'm saying good evening because it's the evening in the UK. It may not be the evening for you, in which case I apologise. I'm doing that. There we are. So this, I'm going to add on to here the transparent cracking gel because I want to preserve the imagery that's on here, but I want to be able to add some colour. And that might seem a bit illogical, but you'll see why I'm doing this, and I'll be able to add some colour into the crackles. So this is a two-part system, and the first part for all of the Pentart crackle mediums is always a milky product, and I think that this part one is possibly getting a little old because it's quite thick and it's a bit whiffy, which tells me I've had it open for a bit longer than I should have done. It was out of stock at Pentart for a while, so when I next place an order, I think I'm going to have to get a replacement pot for the primer, but it will still work. So don't worry if you open a pot of your primer for the part one for the transparent crackle and it whiffs a bit. It will be fine in terms of working for your crackle. It just means that it's past its best before date. But hey ho, waste not, want not. I am. And this is, it's a good example of why you really should look after your products, use them up, and only buy the volumes that you actually need rather than hoarding masses, because otherwise it becomes false economy, doesn't it, if you end up having to throw things away. So there we are. We've got a coat of that on there. It doesn't actually matter whether it all goes on in the same direction or up and down. It's just habit that's what I do. I'm not surprised, my darling. You just have to take it. I love fine line crackle, but that's not the look that I wanted for here. So let's just pop that over there. Let's wipe up that pickle that we've got on the desk because it'll be very sticky. And I visited the UK Costco recently, so I've got a set of their biodegradable fragrance-free baby wipes, so I no longer have to feel hugely guilty about wiping up with baby wipes. There we are. Let's just get that off there before we have a pickle. There we are. Right. And then I've got all sorts of bits here and that we're going to paint, and all sorts of products in front of me. And we are really going to mix it up tonight because, well, why not? It's all part of the fun, isn't it? And it's a good way of introducing people to lots of different products and lots of different mediums. That's a moderately reasonably looking brush. So, and controversially, I am just about to paint this directly onto bare MDF. What, I hear you say, because we're taught not to do that, aren't we? Well, I've got the Thorn sparkling gel, and it's semi-transparent, and ship's wheels should be brown. Yeah, should be brown anyway, shouldn't they? So if it soaks in, it doesn't matter. If I see the brown through, it doesn't matter. And if I wiggle that, yeah, as I wiggle that, you can see the shimmer that's in it. So that's all of the sparkling gels. They are a gel, so they are translucent. You can layer them over other things, but they all have a little bit of a shimmer in them. So that's cool, isn't it? So we can add that and we just get that little bit of a sparkle. And I'm so not generally a blingy girl, but I've decided tonight that I would get the sparkle out. I don't know why, but I did. So there we are. So we can pop that over there. There we are. We're going to be layering this, so that's okay. We'll just add some bits where we've missed it. There we are. You can see where you've missed it because you don't quite get the same amount of shimmer. There we are. And we've got number 2, so let's just do that. So I quite often like to use things in more than one and in variations in size. It's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful product. So in the US, Terry has an affiliate link for TH Decor. So go and have a hunt because Teresa Rennie will have these products, or one of the retailers will have the sparkling gels in. Terry uses them quite a lot, so I'm sure they'll be on her affiliate link somewhere on the line. And if you're in the UK, you'll have to have a little bit of a search around. And my recommendation currently, given how it's actually quite difficult to find stuff, is that you have a look and think seriously about importing from Viola Craft, because they've got their shipping's not expensive, they're reliable, and they've got a really good supply of Pentart mediums, and DHL are helpful with the importing process. It took I ordered on the Thursday and I had them delivered on the Wednesday the following week, with a phone call from DHL to clear it through customs, because the package was marked as coffee and chocolate, and that does have an import tax, whereas papers don't. Right, eeny, meeny, miny, we've got a whole mountain of starfish there. So what do we want? Well, we've got some sun yellow, we've got some compact powder. Do I want that one? We've got that one. I've got all sorts of colour paints out. There we are. And we've got a matte paint that's got the wrong lid on it, because why wouldn't you have? Why would I? You're very welcome to me having done some stuff. So we've got some assorted starfish and starfish-esque types things here. Let me just pick up a brush. This is my own fault, because what did I do? I pulled out the other night a whole mountain of new brushes, and then I don't really want to use new brushes on textured things and make a mess of them. So this is Sun Yellow, and this is, in spite of the chalky paint lid on it, it's actually ochre. There we are. So we're going to use ochre, Sun Yellow, and then we'll do some dry brushing with those two. There we are. So these have been cast with Amazing Casting Resin, which is my go-to quick set resin because I'm an impatient monkey. And I have primed them with 2 layers of bonding primer. But I did that in advance because the bonding primer is best applied as 2 thin layers with 24 hours of drying time, preferably between the 2 coats. You can get away with 12 hours, but the longer that you leave it, the better. And the reason I'm doing that is that you're obvious, well, I'm saying obviously, but it may not be obvious. Resin is a form of plastic, so it's non-porous. So if you just add paint on top of it, paint doesn't stick to porous surfaces very well. So I think it's just helpful to, so you need something that's going to help the paint grip to it, and the bonding primer is designed to do that for non-porous surfaces. If you've cast with clay, then just use some white gesso to seal the pieces first. If you don't add white gesso to sink into the clay, all that happens is your paint will sink in and you'll need masses of it to work with. Hi Lisa, welcome. There we are. That's lovely. There we are. So let's just give this a little paint. So these moulds have got quite a lot of detail in them. We'll bring that out with some waxes. Yeah, we've got waxes lurking on the system. In fact, I haven't even got any umber out. How silly am I? But hey ho. And then right, so let's put the wrong lid back on the ochre, because that's the one we took it off, and then we'll contaminate our paints by just double dipping. But hey ho, they're all tonally correct, it won't matter, and it will just add some color variation. If you don't want your paints to be contaminated, pop it onto a paint palette first. Sometimes life is too short to worry about that. There we are. We might do a little bit, but we're just letting stuff dry in the meantime with what's going on. Hello Doris, welcome, thank you. Hello Grandma Jo, welcome again this evening. It's lovely to see you. Lovely to see you. Cool, we've got good numbers tonight. It's lovely to see everyone. There we are. So you can see that they're different colours, between them. So we're not going to have everything exactly the same. We'll add different dry brushing, and we might use, we will grab some umber in a minute to dry brush that. And so let's pop that in there, and we'll give our hands a little wipe, get rid of the yuck that's on my hands, and yeah. It's always helpful, isn't it? Ugh, dear, mucky nuts. I don't know how you stay clean, Terry. I really don't. But hey ho, each to their own way of crafting. So let's just give these a good little bit of a waft. I can give this a little bit good. Good evening, Jill. No need to be sorry, my darling. No need to be sorry. We can't all be in all places at all times, can we? It's just not possible. If I'm not careful, I'm going to end up with 25 tons of stuff on the desk in front of me, lots of clutter, and you're not being able to see anything for the wood for the trees. Never good. You'd think I'd have learnt by now, wouldn't you, that you can't have, there's such a thing as too much stuff in a life. Let's get rid of that. Don't want that. Just a little bit of help like that. What you don't want to do is leave your heat gun over any one spot of your glue for any length of time, because it will bubble, and that doesn't give a very attractive look. Once I've got these guys, I can shove them out of the way a little bit, and we can pick up some other bits and pieces. There's plenty here to choose from. There's a surprise, isn't it? Yeah. And I might just go walk about and go pick up some more colours. Because why not, if I haven't got enough on the road? Those can move over now, they're safe enough to move. They're not too wet. Yeah. Right, let's just wipe that, clear that mess, leave those to finish off drying. We can always give them a bit more of a blast. So we have, these are cast from one of the latest moulds from Stamperia. So we've got Bourdon and Amethyst, and as a contrast we're going to go Vintage Blue. How's that? Just because I want things that are a little bit different. Let's pick up another brush. This is called How to Go Through Every Brush You Own in 5 minutes flat, but hey ho. There we are. I don't need an angled brush for this, but I'm using one because it's conveniently here. Aha! We have, so Bourdon is a really rich red, and this will take a while because we've got lots of nooks and crannies to get covered. Someone gave me a tip once and they said do the edges first because you can hold on to the top. So let's see if that will work. Make sure I've got that in camera. Always helpful, isn't it? But you do need to get your edges, everything covered, because if you don't, well, if you're like me, it'll then irritate you if you've missed a bit. There we are. And I don't sell or auction my pieces, so yeah, it'll only be me that it irritates. But I'd rather not be irritated every time I go to look at something because I've missed a bit. There we are. We'll endeavour to try and keep clean hands. I say for me that will be a bit of a major miracle because it never really happens. I start out with the best intentions in the world on a live of being clean and tidy, but it goes pear-shaped fairly rapidly. There we are. Got lots too much paint in there, so let's just take that. There we are. We'll just carry on. Because corals are multicoloured, aren't they? Yeah, I think so. And anyway, creative license. You can have the corals, whatever colours you want. Good tip is to look at the accompanying paper pack that comes, with the collection that these moulds are from, or to get out an encyclopedia, or ask Mrs. Google what colours, for some images of whatever the object is that you're wanting to paint, and then it'll tell you what to do or give you some clues as to where to go. So there we are. Let's just see if we can. We've managed to get the edges. There we are. My spelling has hit a peak. What have you written? Beat me to. Okay. Well, that'll be predictive text. That thing that drives us all absolutely loopy. There's nothing predictive about it. It thinks it knows better than us and then puts the wrong flipping things in. Predictive? No. But most unhelpful? Yes, definitely. Very unhelpful. There we are. Here, you see, we've still missed bits in those edges. There we are. because that's what happens. There we are. Let's just, so you need to turn your pieces around but every single angle, back and forth. There's another bit there. Anyway, we'll claim that we've not got 2020 vision, shall we, for the rest of that. So let's just pop that bit of yuck in the bin and pop that onto there, pop the lid back onto that. And then Pentart say to me that they want me to keep the pots clean because they look nicer when on air. Zero chance, Mr. Pentart, of that happening, because, well, again, because life's too flipping short. Let's just give that a little wipe. The next colour is dark, so that won't matter. So we're deliberately mixing these up. So this is Eggplant, which is another really, really beautiful colour. And on the newer pots of paint, they have got rid of the cardboard liners that drive both Terry and me mad, because they absorb all the liquid and make things go thick. So yeah, let's go with this one. So this, as I say, Eggplant. You can, it's definitely a very rich colour. And we'll apply the same principle. We'll go around the edges and then we'll pick up the things that I was to say that it might need 2 coats. Just looking at the way it's covering, that might be my fault. I might have been better off giving the pot a stir. It has been in my stash a little while and the pigments may well have, yeah, there we are, that was better. That's better. There we are. But we can always go back over. Anyway, often you're better off with thin coats rather than using lots of thick coats on, a single thick coat, because you can dry a thin coat quicker and then add another one over the top. Good evening, Elizabeth. Welcome. All right, let's just get into those. She says don't use thin coats, but hey ho. There we are. We want to getting into those nooks and the crannies, down into the depths of these pieces. Yay. I think we might have got that there. And then I'll turn it round and I'll find I've missed all sorts of areas, because that is literally just what happens. It really is. And we're going to give these a bit of a blast and the background a bit of blast. We can see that is drying, because we've got areas that you can now see the rice paper clearly, and areas where it's got a milky appearance over the top. So that's good. But it's getting there. It needs to be all cleared before I can add the step 2 to that. But that's all right. I have no idea how long we're going to take this evening, but does it matter? Probably not. So we might just need a second layer on there. But in fairness, colour variation won't really matter, will it, on a natural product? Got to go, guys. Anyway, no problem, Helen. You just take care of yourself. Self-care and knowing what you need to do is by far the most important thing. Good evening, Nicole. Welcome. So let's just shovel that one over there, wipe up that beautiful eggplant colour, and then we can do this with the vintage blue, which has definitely got a purpley grey undertone to it. It's fine. So Penny, in the UK it's probably it's 9:45 at night, so most of us have had enough of the day by now, and it's definitely getting to the point of being approaching bedtime or bedtime routines, if nothing else. There we are. But I think this colour will work. There we are. So these are all currently acrylic paint mats. but we will be returning to some of the sparkling gels, because why not? We all like a little bit of sparkle. There we are. So I don't think that when Stamperia developed this mould that they thought that it would, you know, about the logistics of painting it, because it's definitely fiddly, but I'm sure it'll be worth it when we're done. There we are. And of course I could have picked a smaller brush to go into the nooks of the crannies. That might have helped as well, but hey ho, you know, why make your life easy? There we are. So let's just pop that onto there, cover up those bits. That looks like we might have caught that one reasonably well. There we are. Hello Janini, welcome my darling. Thank you, they are lovely colours. So we have ochre for these, sun yellow, bourdon, eggplant, vintage blue, and these with their shimmer have been, it's the bare MDF just painted with fawn coloured sparkling gel to give a bit of shimmer. Let's just heat these up a little bit. I don't want to blister the paint, and if you stay in one place for any length of time, you will blister things. So if I just give this over here a bit more of a waft. There we are. Because otherwise it will take forever, and we'll just do some gentle wafting, keeping the heat gun moving. So the exact opposite, if you're heat embossing, then you would want to keep your heat gun still until the embossing powder has melted, and then move it on. For paint drying, medium drying, you want to keep you're heating the air, and then the air is heating the paint to get it dry. So you need to keep it moving so that stuff doesn't bubble, because it just doesn't look very nice when it does that. There we are. I'm just going to let that cool down a little bit. Those can sit over there. Just bear with, because I didn't get it out because I'm a naughty. But there we are. Look all conveniently to hand. Let's pick up. That's an old pot of that. So we use. Whoop, she's letting stuff flying because she's got too much in the room. So let's just add some umber to our. Let's find a brush that doesn't look too revolting. So I keep my, unlike Terry, who washes her pots out each night, I keep my wax brushes in a pot of turpentine, and that means that I can just pick them up. And I've got old scrubby brushes deliberately. They're not new. That's where I relegate my old ones, and it means that I can scrubble everything into the base quite happily, and then I can lift off what I want. So if I just lift this off, there we are. So it's completely transformed that now. So it started out like this, and now I have like that, and that is purely the benefit of the of the antiquing paste that I'm using. I will come back in, and I'm going to lift some of the colour back out. It's still set in these places in quite large thick areas, and if I just take this brush, I can thin it down quite nicely. Oops, there we are. take the excess off, and then you don't need to use masses and masses and masses of product. There we are. And then we might add, okay, so let's just do those, and then we might change our tack for the others in a minute, because we want lots of different effects. Well, that's the whole intention. And you can see that I can pick up the wax from that other one. Might just have a little tad more, because I want it to sit into all of those details in there. So let's just pop that over there. Thank you, Jan. Yeah, I craft it. I live in my hoodies, to be honest. I do indeed. So let's just wipe that back again. Can take this back off. The advantage of the wax is that, you know, the antiquing paste is that they will wipe off. A wax doesn't, but the antiquing pastes do. So there we are. We can lift that off, and we've got lots of detail now. And here we'll just take this one back, and it's muted the colours down quite successfully. There we are, and added some details, and I think they look probably more starfish-esque at this point. There we are. So we'll just do that. There we are. And we'll just take that and wipe my hands. There we are. So I want to add some extra different colour onto here, and if I try and use my Umbra, which is a waxy product, although it's not a wax, first, then it won't stick to what I want to do. So this is compact powder. Let me just take that dried paint off there and grab a brush. So I'm just going to pick up the tiniest bit on there. You can just see a little bit, and then I'm going to knock the vast majority of it off and into the brush bristles. I work on a glass mat, and so I can just scrape all of this lot. So now I can take this and I can just literally, and I might have knocked back too much, and that's fine. I can build my layers. So I can see that that is going on, but I suspect you won't be able to. So let me just take that off. There we are. That's better. That's going to be more seeable. Yeah, so you've got some colour variation onto there. That's better. That one's showing. So that's it before. So my brush is almost dry. And my paint underneath is dry. There we are. And we might leave those a nice colour. On the other hand, we might not. But we will leave those nice colour. I want colour variation. I don't want everything to look exactly the same, because that's not real life, is it? And I'm just going to give that stick that brush into there temporarily. We'll give this a bit more of a dry. I can still, we've got white paint there. Those can have a dry. We've still got some pieces to paint, but I really do want to get the second layer on top of it. No, teenage is absolutely unfillable. So I've still got a nice big white streak in the middle of here that I need to get dry. So there we are. I'm not a very patient individual, I'm afraid. There we are. I use the glass mat for cutting and go through knife blades fairly frequently, but it means that I can slide a scraper along the top of it rather than using lots of wipes. So get the central piece. I need to get the central panel dry because I need to get the next step on top of it, and that's another white there, but it won't dry right. Definitely getting there. You can see we're getting there. Let's just do that. Over that bit. I can still see I've got white. So on screen it's actually looking nearly clear. Just bear with while I get it properly cleared. And so on my small phone screen, it really does look clear. On my big computer screen, it's got some areas that are not clear. But, okay. Right. So those pieces are finished. Those pieces are finished. Those pieces are finished. They can go over there. That can go over there. That can go over there. We might need some extra layers of paint on some of that, but we've got a plan. And that's still wet in the same depths of there. Yeah. Right. So I put on the first part of the cracking gel transparent. It went on white. It's dried clear, and now I have the second part of the cracking paste transparent, and you can pop this on with a palette knife or with a brush. Choice is yours. So let's just give this, and the effects that you're going to get will vary depending on how thick you put this layer on. So I'm just going to uneven it a bit. There we are. The thinner the layer, the thinner the cracks. The thicker the layer, the thicker the cracks. Sort of logical, really, isn't it? So we'll have some areas that are variable. There we are. I don't want to put it too thick because we'll be here all night waiting for it to dry. There we are. Pop that over there. So that we'll scrape what's left back into there. We'll lid this. Thanking you. And we'll pop that out of harm's way. 2 of those up there, that can go on there, and the heat can get underneath it. And I'll just grab my scraper, excuse me. Shouldn't be too squeaky. We can then just have a little bit of a clear down. And the seaweed or corals, whichever you see it as, I think. There we are. Cool. So let's get the first layer of paint onto these 2. Ooh, she says. There we are. Let's just clear off the excess bonding primer because I slathered it on. There we are. That will look neater. That will look neater. Put that into there. There we are. Nice clean edges. Cool. Now then, what have we got? We've got. And okay. So let's drive myself mad. Why not, woman? Why not? So, tell you what, we'll start out with antique gold. And this would generally, the metallics cover better on a black. But because I'm mixing up and I'm not doing the rest of this piece black, I'm accepting that I'm almost certainly going to need to put 2 layers onto the bits that I want to be metallic. But if you've got a whole piece that's going to be metallic, then definitely paint it black first. It's just easier, and you get definitely better coverage, or less transparent coverage, shall we say, by doing that. There we are. So there's a nice range of metallics. For those of you that don't have the antique gold is actually found in the Pentart Rust Effect kit. It's the metallic that's in that. So you don't need to have a big pot. If you've got the Rust Effect kit, then you'll have some of that in. Let's just tuck that neatly into there. Yeah, and then we'll need to get into here. We'll just be careful with how we go. We're going to add some other colours anyway, so it won't matter. And we can let these whole pieces all dry as we go. Get rid of that bit. There we are. Not bad, not bad. And as I say, we'll come back to that. And I'm going to paint the wing of this butterfly, dragonfly, in the gold too. But I've got a plan, so it's not going to stay all gold. But we need to get this on and dried. There we are. We will need that again in a minute. Sorry, I was concentrating. It's never good, is it? Never good. And I can't do that bit until that is dry, because that will be a pickle. So let's pick up these and let's see what colours we've got lurking. Lurking. Did we get out an ivory? No, we've got Titan white. Don't want Titan white. I do know it's going to take some white. I do know it's going to take some white. Well, we will have beige and let's go with that one. Beige and earth brown. There we are. There we are. There we are. Coolly cool. So let's have some simple painting. Hey. See, anyone who watches my lives knows that I end up with 25 tons of product all over the place. Because I've got, and a 6-inch square to work in. But that's real, isn't it? Because that's what ends up happening. We end up with a 6-inch space to work in. So let's just paint the base of this with the beige. Don't want it white. White's too harsh a colour. But it doesn't need to be dark either for the base of the shells. And again, you could make the shells whatever colours you want. It could be absolutely rainbow shells if that's the look that suits you. I'm going semi-realistic, maybe, possibly. Yeah, absolutely. There we are. I'm quite a literal person. I don't tend to go AWOL and off on completely things that are not entirely natural, but nor am I fastidious a bit about picking up every bit of detail, because life is just too short. And you might not want to be here at 3 o'clock in the morning. I might still be here crafting at 3 o'clock in the morning, but that's not what everyone else wants to be doing. You really don't. There we are. So let's just give that all a little bit of, that'll be a blast dry. But you can see that my pile of unfinished things is now beginning to get there. Purple sparkle. No, definitely not, Sophie. Purple sparkle might go on some of the other bits, but it's not going on those. Right, where's that? And generally, you really should lid your paints before you go anywhere near them with a heat gun. Let's just heat that. Give that a little bit of a wash. That will help up the speed up the drying of that. Transparent crackles generally better off left to crackle on its own, as are all crackles, but the Pentart ones are heat stable, so you can give them a bit of a blast. It won't do them any harm, and it will help speed up the process. Okay, let's pop that over there, pop that over there. Right, whilst the going is good and those are part drying, let us pick up. So I have gold and blue, red gold and green gold sparkling gels. I am in my conservatory, which is where I work all of the time. So I'm just picking up another brush. Again, I don't specifically want a good one because I'm going to scrubble it. So this is another one of the sparkling gels. It's red gold and it's a gel, so it's semi-transparent. And it's just going to add a little bit of shimmer onto here and transform it. But if you just put it onto a white base, then it will definitely, so if I move that, you can, yeah, it's got a little bit of a shimmer, subtle, but it's definitely there. So that can go there. There isn't a purple one, which is very unfortunate, but there isn't. So, but we'll add it onto the top of here, and the purple will show through. So that's the purple, the eggplant, and that is the Bordeaux. And it's just adding a little bit of watery shimmer to the pieces. Let's lid this up. There we are. And we'll dunk that and give it a wiggle in the pot of water. She says, wiggling everything else. There we are. Let's give that a little bit of a dry. There we are. And this is the green gold sparkling gel, which isn't green at all. It's very definitely blue. There we are. So we're just adding little bits of shimmer, little bits of extra colour. There we are. And all of these layers matter and count towards the end of the project. Absolutely, Sue. Definitely. There is a green one as well, though. Properly green one. Yeah. But that one is definitely blue. Blue. Right, let's give these all these bits. We have a plan. It is beginning to come together. Hey. Like it when plans come together. Most of that lot is now finished with. Look all. So we've got some of those are finished. We're getting a pile of finished pieces. I like it when a plan starts to come together. We've got some bits to go for here. I've just picked up some gold paint, so let's just give this a little wash dry. I think that's the darkest of them. So this is patina green, a grain, not really green, antiquing paint. Yeah. Oh, that's a suit. Looks like it's a suit. No, I don't need need a reasonable sized brush. That one will work. So Let's just add this onto here. Might need to be a little bit more careful. Who's this? And I will come back. I'm going to need to add some more. Definitely add some more gold paint into that. There we are. Cool. Turn that round. So these projects that are definitely all about building your layers, building the colour, showing the texture. So the antiquing paints, you can lift one colour off the other. So you need to let the layers dry, but then you can wipe back. So that's why I've picked these in preference to antiquing gels. These are acrylic based or water based acrylic, so that I can use the antiquing fluid remover to lift back, but as I want to, I'm going to add some variation in colour into that. There we are. Yeah, I think it's going to be good. I think it will be good. I do know that seahorses aren't really blue, but hey ho, in my head they're going to be blue today because it's going to work for me. It's going to work for me. Let's get that into there. There we are. Okay. We'll use that brush again, but let's just pop that over there. I think those are dry enough. So let's just take and add some colour to these shells, because then a shell's never going to be completely one colour, is it? That we all know that if we walk on the beach, they're all a variation. So let's just grab off the floor. The other, Terry is a good girl. She sits for all of her lives. I stand when I craft. As a surgeon, we were taught to operate standing up, and I have never got out of the habit. I'm just going to dry this brush as much as possible. There we go. Yeah. There we are. So we've had a nice day today, Sharon. Quite a nice day. It's been beautifully sunny here. Might not have been in all parts of the UK. It's been nice and warm. Not as warm as yesterday, but quite warm. So let's just add some colour. It's going to pick up all the details. There we are. So my single colour, that definitely now looks much more shell-like, I think. We might just take it just right around the edges a little bit, so it's not quite so stark on the edges. There we are. And you can build it up because this brush is pretty dry. There we are. So we'll carry on. Oops, she says. There we are. So there we are. So we've got some much more natural coloured things. So this is the red brown or terracotta from the rust set. And although they're labelled as rust set, they are some of my go-to colours, I have to say. Right, eeny meeny, we just need to do a bit more drying. Thank you, Penny. It's, projects just take as long as they take. I don't think that you can do a mixed media piece in a, well, you probably could do a mixed media piece in an hour, but not if you're going to paint every single mould differently and add lots of layers and colours and textures. I need this blue to be... Don't you worry, Jan, my darling. You look after yourself, because no one else is going to look after you. We have to look after ourselves. Just need that seahorse to be dry so I can get some more gold onto there. Let's just give this paper, the transparent crackle is drying, and we're beginning to get some crackles, but it's got a bit to go. And the joy of doing lives on my for essentially for myself is that I'm not constrained to time. I can, I can make a project as big as small as I want. Whereas when I'm doing them for Pentart, there is a guideline time that I frequently breach, but I don't want to breach it to a silly amount ever. And also, I think that we all have only so long that we can actually concentrate for. Just pop that over there. And we're just going to add a bit more gold onto this. I think we might have that vaguely at a point where it's dry enough. And I have learned to be able to so whereabouts in Ireland do you come home to, Sharon? I've got a loose brush hair there. That's going to irritate. There we are. So I'll just add a second layer, and that will make that gold look a lot better. Make it look more solid. There we are. Get rid of the hair. There we go. There we are. I think I've got rid of the hair now. Okay. I have lovely friends who live, well, I have a lovely friend called Deirdre who lives in the north. I've visited Enniskillen and stayed in a lovely hotel that was by a big lake that was bombed the year after. So I have very fond memories of visiting Northern Ireland, and I have very good friends who live down in the south, in Newbridge. There we are. So that has given that an extra coat, and that now looks much better. So that can now go in there. That can go there. So let's just pop the bits that are out of the dry out of the way. Those can go over there. That can go over there. Those shells can go over there. And then let's just move down the pieces that need to dry, because we've got 3 bits that still need a little bit of work doing on them. Hey, there we are. I like it when a plan comes together. We're beginning to see the image back. Yeah, I can understand that feeling, my darling. I can understand that feeling. For me, home has always been where I've hung my hat, but rather than being a specific, always one specific place. Now, one of the headaches when you're if you're, when you're force drying with the translucent cracking paste, is that it can dry on the surface and leaving it white behind. And what I would say is don't panic when it does that. You just carry on and treat it as if it's dry. Ignore the fact that you've got areas that are white like there, and just leave it, because over a few days it will clear and more cracks will appear as it does so. So just have the courage not to worry about it. And I say that from experience. So, you know, it's sometimes helpful to know that that's what happens, and actually it will sort itself out over time. Let's just leave that to come round and give this a little bit of a dry, because I still want to add an extra layer onto this. And I need that gold paint to be dry. Not bad, actually, not bad. Cool. Right, so this is the patina blue as opposed to the patina green. I mean, really, that's more blue for me. It might be a very pale blue, but it's definitely more blue. So let's just pop this onto here. We'll take a bigger brush. We might just be there for the cows come home if we don't take a bigger brush. Do we have a bigger brush? Of course we have a bigger brush. There we are. There we are. So we'll just add because this is a paint I can wipe back. That's the whole of joy of the antique paints, is that I can wipe this back. So even though you might say, well, you've just painted it in an entirely different colour, the reality of life is I can wipe it back. I'll give it a little bit of a dry. Still got some icky areas of gold, but hey ho, we'll live with that for the time being. There we are. Not that there. I'll give this a little scrub. Got that covered. I'm just going to counterintuitively, because it is counterintuitive, we're now going to give that a blast dry. And you think, but you just said you want to wipe it back, and I do want to wipe it back, but I have more control if I've given it a blast dry. And it also gives me a chance to give another blast to this, which I can see is crackle, and it's clearing bit by bit. And of course, it's the areas that I applied it more thickly that are taking their time to go. But hey, so I'll live with that. But you know, it's just part of life, isn't it? And I can see lots of beautiful crackle there. So we have a medium called Antiquing Paint Remover. So we're just going to put literally a drop of that onto there. Of course, and now it's going to misbehave and not come off, but hey ho, there we are. That's it. You can see I'm lifting my layers of paint onto there. Add a little bit of water to help the process. There we are. So I've got some colour variation there. So let's just pop some of the remover onto there. and some of that. And I can just start to lift that colour off the top. There we are. Remember, I had dried it. There we are. So I've got variation. And my gold is no longer quite all gold. But my wings have a goldish hue, an undercurrent. There we are. Just rub it back and forth. There we are. Cool. So I've got colour variation in my seahorses. I've got cracks here. It is still a bit white, but I'm not going to worry about that. And I'm just going to grab the patina blue antiquing gel and the big fluffy brush. And that's cool. And then it's just cover the whole lot, she says. But you will then be able to see the crackles when I wipe this back. So the antiquing gels dry quite quickly. And once they're dry, you can't wipe them off. So it's best to lift them in layers, in patches as you go. There we are. So now I can see behind, but I've got the blue in my crackles, and you can see how well that crackle has crackled. Ooh. I don't know how many people. I think I must have missed masses and masses of comments. I do apologise if I have. Definitely don't want people to think I'm being rude and ignore them. But yeah, it's a good crackle. And now you know why I keep old brushes, because I can then use the brush to really, really work into the cracks and to fill them. And I don't necessarily want to do that with an expensive brand new brush, because that seems a bit silly, really. It's very cool. The crackle is amazing. It just does work. There we are. So in an area where it was very, very thin, you've got tiny, tiny crackles. And where you've got really thick layers, you've got whacking great big crackles. There we are. It's one of my easy easy go-to, easy to do, reliable techniques. And I'm going to deliberately have these on and off the page, or on and off the piece. There we are. So let's just start to set this up in the way that I want to set it up. So that's reasonably balanced. And then we're going to have a piece of that and a piece of that. And that's going to need to have something else underneath it to support it. And that definitely is going to need to have something else underneath to support it. But that's okay. We can cope with that. So we're going to... So it's going to be a bit like that. It's all looking a bit dark on screen, for which I apologise, because it's not really that dark. Right, let's just start adding some bits and pieces. Because can I remember where I have things? Can I heck? But there we are. We'll get there. Let's just have a little bit. So that's a nice thin one. So that can go there. We're going to pop that underneath there to fill in the gap. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to build some texture and some details, and we'll pop some of these over here. We might have more than we need, and that's also fair and reasonable. So let's pop that over there. And then we can pop him higher up, which means we're going to need to lift that. And we'll pop that piece over there. And we can tuck these in and around. So he's too big at the moment, and that's fine. So let's just work out where I want the pieces. Yeah. And so we're just going to build a little scape that can tuck underneath there. There's a gap underneath there, so it makes sense to fill it. And we'll pop up there, up there. Let's pop a little shell into there because it's going to work. We can pop another shell there along the bottom. That can sit up onto there. That can sit there. We might tuck that actually on top of there. That might work quite nicely. Let's just lift that up a little bit higher. There we are. Let's pop. I'm going to pop that into. Let's see where we're going to go. We're going to pop. I think we might put a little starfish down there. That can go there. We'll pop that little seashell tuck down there. We might tuck another starfish into there. On the other hand, we might not. We might decide we've got enough. We might decide we've got enough. Do I want that one on there? And that one there? No, I think we're going to pop that one there. We'll leave that one there. Possibly. Maybe. Let's just see what that looks like with that tucked under there. I prefer that tucked underneath there. I do indeed. There we are. So we're building these up. Well, will we have a little bit of a pickle for this? Maybe. It's not going to sit down very nicely. So let's just grab some gel medium, because why not? There we are. And then we're going to disrupt this lot, having worked out exactly where we're going to put it all, because we now need to lift it off to stick it down. But so be life. Okay. So I know that I'm happy to have that over there. So let me just add some bits of gel medium onto here. A lot of this areas are going to be covered. So let's just pop some of that onto there. And we'll pop that there. I'm going to mop some of that up in a minute, because I know that it will dry a mess if I don't. And I'm going to line this over there, because for me that's going to work nicely and help bring it all together. Okay, so let's just be careful now. We're going to add, and I can now tuck under and over, and the gel medium will allow me to lift and poke in a way that I can't do if I've used a hot glue gun. So that's why I'm liking the idea of using that like that. So let's just pop this. I'll just add little bits of this all over. I will pick up the excess, because I'm using a matte gel medium, unlike Terry, who uses a clear gel medium for her gluing. I prefer to use the matte, and I can't tell you why, I just do. So there we are. Let's just pop that there, because we were happy with that there. We know that that's where you want that piece. There we are. And we're going to pop, that's going to sit on there. So we'll have a bit there and a bit there. And we'll just cover some of these other areas and stick that onto there. So it's grabbing onto there it will hold, because we're going to balance some of these pieces in a minute. Okay, cool. So where's the big piece? There is our big piece. Here is Mr. Focal element. And that's just, there we are. I'm glad you like it. As I say, it's very different to Terry's recycling makes, but that's the joy of having different creatives, isn't it? As we all do things slightly differently. So there we are. He can go up there. And he can go on there. I knew there was another element that was missing. There we are. So that can go onto there. Right. So I need to support this up. So I'm going to pop, I think, that into, I'm going to pop. That's going to help support that. So I'm just working out where the balance points of the pieces are. So that can sit in there. We're going to pop this piece onto there. And that's now sitting neatly and securely. And we might stick, but then we're going to pop that. I think we're going to pop that higher, won't? Yeah, I'm going to leave it down at the bottom. I am going to leave it there, and we'll pop that over the top. So, no, we're not going to leave it there. We are going to lift it up. There we are. We'll pop that up into there. You see, talking to yourself is always helpful, you know, always helpful. So that can go up there. That will catch. I can feel it catching on pieces. I can lift that bit of goo out of the way. We're going to pop that there. And I definitely need something underneath that to support it. And that's fine. So let's see what we've got. Let's pop that one there. And then we'll pop that piece there. I think. Do you want to pop? Yeah, I'm gonna move it over. Yeah, it's a prerogative, isn't it? Yeah, that's a big glob, and that's fine, because that can go onto there. There we are. Stick that there. That can sit there. I'm just going to wriggle that up. No, I'm not. I'm going to wriggle it down. And we're going to pop. Let's straighten that. Straighten that. Yeah, why not? Why not? Why not stick it half off the page? Hey, hey, there we are. See, I like it when a plan comes together. And that can go there. Let's get rid of that big blob from there, because it will definitely show if I don't. Okay. That will work. That will work. So let's just pop a bit of gel medium onto there. And a bit of gel medium onto there. So that no longer looks like it's hanging in the breeze. And let's just pop that one onto there. Part in, part out, because that's what happens, isn't it, with fish. And then we can pop this piece. I think we're going to pop that into there. There we are. Cool. So we now have a multi-layered piece. Do I want to pop that piece onto there? Well, it's out, isn't it? So why not? Why not? Why not? Indeed. It's there. We've painted it. That can go in there. That can go in there. So we'll just give that a little squash. And we now have a mixed media plaque with all of the colours of the sea. We can add some splatters if we want to. I think we might, just because I'm feeling that way inclined. But I definitely want them. I'll have a bit of white splatterage. I'll have a bit of white splashes. And if I had a navy out, I might go for some navy. But as we haven't, we'll worry about that later on. There we are. Not a bit of wax in sight. This is just some acrylic paint. Might need a bit more white in that. There it is. I do have plenty of white. I have 500 mils of white. There we are. There we are. Let's just get this to a splatterable consistency. There we are. My link, my regular page is Gill. Is just Gill Humphrey. My name. What I will do is I will put it in the comments or when I post the picture of the make, then I will pop the link into my page if that's okay. There we are. It's amazing what a difference a bit of white splat does. I do think a bit of dark blue splat might work, but I don't think a bit of black splat will work. So where is my indigo blue paint? Don't want that. Don't want that. Can I find the indigo blue paint? Well, that would be interesting, won't it? I do have indigo blue. No, that's turquoise. I don't want turquoise. Dear, oh dear. No, when you want a colour, you cannot find it. So we'll leave that. But tell you what, we'll not faff. We'll use the black. She says that equally that she hasn't got out. But there we are. Maybe not. Let's find something dark to splat with. Don't want that definitely don't want the turquoise. I do want a different colour. Have I got black? The one green. I do have. Tell you what I do have though, which I can get hold of easily. And that's a pot of black gesso. So let me just take some of that black gesso, pop that there. There we are. Jill, I've been doing happy dances because I put 500ml pots in the bin. 50ml pots in the bin. And then I get sent 6 500g pots. You do need to be careful with adding black splats. It is easy to overcook it. But it does make a difference. There we are. I really am now complete. Let's just mop up that, throw that white in the bin. Hey, that's another pot in the bin. I need to clear. Desperately need to clear space in my craft room. It is way too much stuff. So let's just give this a little wipe down. Shuffle that lot all out of harm's way. Pop that back in its pot. Let me just grab there we are. If I pop that onto a nice black background, we can now see I have a seascape with my flying seahorse looking at the baby seahorse in its seascape or coral reef. So that's all for tonight, ladies. Please take care. Stay safe with whatever you're doing. And if it's a bank holiday weekend or a celebration weekend, wherever you are, please enjoy yourself and make happy memories. And Terry will be back tomorrow. So see you again at on Terry's Live in the future. Bye for now.